both 10-3 going into the night.
Is that right?
Yeah.
But one of us is 2-1 in best bets.
And the other is 0-3. Best bets. And fuck 2.
I don't know what that was from. It could be from any moment of my life. We were conferring on the best
That's
bets
before the
and
Monday show,
0-3.
right before the Monday show. That's when that was.
I was 0-3, and they bleeped it out. In case you were wondering, best bets. They probably bleeped that out too. Sorry, Kristen. Okay, it's PFTPM. Chris Simms Unbuttoned, delivered by Little Caesars, the official pizza sponsor of the National Football League.
Pizza.
All right, so here we go. And usually there's something we talk about at the beginning.
I got a story for you to
Right
talk about. We don't have
go
to
ahead.
get right into
Go
it.
ahead.
I got you something. I mean, yeah, I'm late as usual on a Thursday podcast, but isn't that what podcasts are for, to not be on time? That's how they were generated. I'm going to do this on my own time. But yeah, sorry, coffee machine was broken this morning, had some issues there, and that's why I was late. Full disclosure. Here's the other part of the story. I was thinking of you last night because I thought, man, this is hilarious. I got to tell somebody. I'm texting my mom and dad. We're on this group text, like my whole family, right? And, you know, I don't know. We're talking about family stuff, blah, blah, blah. And my Aunt Wendy goes, oh, the moon's beautiful tonight, right? And I go, oh, I'm actually outside right now. It is beautiful. And my mom goes, oh, yes, I'm outside too right now cooking steaks for the Fox. And I then wrote back like, wow, huh? I said, well, isn't that some rich white people shit right there? We're cooking steaks for the Fox, right? And that's what they were doing. My dad has an obsession with this fox that comes in the backyard, and he feeds them on the regular. But now it's gone to the point of they're going to the grocery store, buying him strip sirloin steaks and cooking it for him, and then putting it out in the yard for him. So I just thought that had to be shared and put out there in the universe.
Wow. Yeah, they need another grandchild, it sounds
Apparently,
like.
right?
I mean,
Or something.
Good Lord. They could at least do Salisbury steak. I don't think the Fox is picky. I think
I
the
don't
Fox
think
will
so
take
either.
any meat the Fox can get. The ground chuck for the Fox. Just make some hamburgers. Squirrel meat, for crying out loud.
Exactly, right? Phil should know about squirrel meat in the Kentucky family. No, I just, he's got plenty of grandkids around. So that's not the issue, but we're animal lovers in our family, and we got like a bunch of deer that come into the back of his house too. And he swears that one of the bucks that's back there is about to eat out of his hand. He's got it to that point. Now, I got to see the video to see it, but apparently he gets very close to it. My family has told me, and he thinks it's close to eating out of his hand. Now, it's either going to eat out of his hand or spear him in the chest with his with his antlers.
Yeah. Listen, be careful, especially this time of year. This is the rut.
I know.
This is when the male deer
we tried to tell him that the other day.
A female deer.
Right.
And if you get between the male deer and the female deer that the male deer is trying to mate with at the wrong time, you will be.
Yeah.
You will be impaled by that rack. When we first moved into the area where we now live, and the house where we currently reside isn't all that far from the first house we ever bought. It's on the other side of the field that is behind our house. The first fall that my wife and I were living there, I woke up in the middle of the night because it sounded like somebody was outside, like walking in the leaves and making a lot of noise and like breaking sticks. It's like if somebody's out there, they're not trying to be very discreet.
Yeah, right.
And I'm turning all the lights. Like, I can hear somebody walking. It was the deer when they scrape the velvet off their antlers this time of year. It's all part of the broader mating thing. It's part of the rut. They're out in the woods that are now straight behind my house, where they scrape the antlers. And, they sharpen them up, and they fight. They clash.
Yeah, right.
You get in the wrong spot. Big Phil
don't-
thought he got it. Big Phil thought he got it from Reggie White. He's going to get it.
Exactly.
He's going to get it from Bambi's dad here pretty soon.
Yeah, Reggie Antlers is coming. He's a lot more aggressive and dangerous. He better watch out. No doubt about it. It is. It's like where I feel like all my black football friends, my friends are there. Oh, that's some crazy white people shit right there, and I think that classified as that, and that's why I had to tell the story. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yes. Okay. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
And I delayed it as long as I could because I was 7-7 against the spread this week. I care a lot more about the spread this week simply because, oh, God, those are both awesome. I care more about the spread this year because I'm doing so well until I was 7-7 and 0-3 best bets. Best bets if I didn't say that already. But straight up, I picked up another game on you. We agreed on everything up until the last game of the week. I just felt like it was time for the Dolphins to get a win, time for the Rams to get a loss. I got lucky. We both did pretty well last week. I mean, 10-4 is still damn good, and there are a number of seasons long. I want to say
5 out of the last 6 weeks we've kind of been on fire. I think last week was a down week for us. Other than that, I feel like ever since it got to about October, we've been pretty damn hot right here. So I got to win one of these things, and best bets is my thing right now. I mean, I can't get over you straight up. I mean, every week I go, I had a great week straight up. Florio beat me by a game. I mean, you're incredible that way. I don't think I have a chance versus the spread, but I would like to win the other two.
Yeah, I've got a 17-game lead against the spread and 7 against you on straight up. You've got a 3-game lead on best bets, and I hate best bets.
Oh, I love them. I love them. It's a column, great column. You, let's go best bets. Here we go.
Every week this season, you can play along with us. DraftKings has set up the free $1,000 Florio and Simms Pick'em pool. Pick every game against the spread for a chance at a $1,000 prize pool every week.
Download the DraftKings app, click on the Pools tab, and enter the Florio and Simms free $1,000 Pick'em pool to make your picks.
And just like us, you must enter all of your picks before kickoff of the first game of the week on Thursday night. And I said this earlier today on PFT Live, the show you used to do.
Yeah.
And you still do it once a week, and you're coming back soon, so the bit's not going to work much longer. Let me milk it while I can. This is one of those games where when the schedule comes out, nobody gives a shit. And as the season unfolds, it looks better and better and better, and now all of a sudden it's like, wow, 7-3 Commanders, 7-2 Eagles. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Winner of this game is going to feel like they're in charge of the division, even though there's still plenty of football to be played. The Eagles are favored by 3.5, highest over-under of the week at 48.5. Will the Eagles continue what has become a very quiet 5-game winning streak?
I expect so. I do. I think the Eagles are playing really good football right now. You've heard me talk about it, but I guess my big question in this football game is just, does Washington's football team have enough guys, Jimmies and Joes, to sit there and match up with the Philadelphia Eagles, which is one of the more talented teams in football? We saw last week. I do think you're going to see going forward people copy the Pittsburgh Steelers formula a little bit on what they did with Jaden Daniels. I think you're going to see teams, and what they did, just to explain it real quick, because I broke it on my podcast a little bit, is 5-man rushes, get 5 one-on-ones, but not just rush crazy, right? Contain, mush rush almost Jaden Daniels, and have one of those guys, and last week it was Patrick Queen for the Steelers, to sit there to kind of hold the presence of one of the offensive linemen, but then as soon as he makes a move outside the pocket, okay, now we have one of our fast linebackers there to not let him scramble, extend plays, run, do all that. He ran for 5 yards last week. That showed you. And I do think the route tree of the Washington football team is not overly wow. It's good, but I think you're going to see teams match up man-to-man and try to stop him from running, and that's going to be the number one key. And I expect the Philadelphia Eagles to be able to do that, and I just think there's too much firepower on that Eagles offense, every aspect. The Washington not good at man-to-man, and I do think Philly will be able to run on them. It's Thursday night. It's weird things, Mike, but I'm going to go 31-20 Philadelphia here.
So you got the Eagles winning and the Eagles covering.
Yeah.
One of my concerns on this short week, the Commanders had that game that they lost. They were up 10 in the second half, lost it on the 32-yard touchdown pass from Russell Wilson to Mike Williams. How quickly can you put that behind yourself and refocus and not let one loss become 2? How mature is his team? How perfected is the culture that we hear about? I'm going to give them some credit in that regard, and I believe that ultimately, and again, I don't look at the spreads before I make the picks. I have numbers that come into my head, and sometimes they're right and sometimes they're wrong. Eagles 23-20 is the number that I thought of. That gives the Commanders a slight cover, and I think that works because, look, they only lost by 7 to the Ravens. They only lost by 1 to the Steelers. They've acquitted themselves well against the best teams in the league, and I think they'll do it again. But I agree with you. I think just the talent of the Eagles has proven to separate from the other teams they've played. The Commanders are the best team they've faced since they got hot.
Yep.
And I think they will pull it off. And the Jalen Hurts is quietly having a very, very good season.
That's
He's
right.
got 5 straight games with a passer rating of 115 or higher. He will become the 3rd player in league history with 6 straight if he does it again tonight, joining Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. And I just think it's too much. Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, it's too much. The Commanders will be proud of their effort, but they, I believe, will again be on the losing side.
Yeah, well, this is a different animal. This is clearly one of the 4 best teams in football with Philadelphia. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Maybe top 3 football team, depending on who ranks what and whatever else. But here, my big thing, too, Washington's run defense. Man, when you can't play run defense against Philadelphia, woo, man, you're in trouble in that aspect. And no Marshawn Lattimore playing. And here's my last thing, Mike. Washington's had a pretty favorable schedule. And I think even some of the better teams they've played have been favorable to them matchup-wise. Pittsburgh, yeah, got a good defense. The offense is just Baltimore got a really good offense, but the defense is Philadelphia's got, no, both is real damn good. Defense is coming into its own. They got players everywhere. Offense, of course, like you just explained, coming to its own. That's kind of why I went with the bigger point spread than maybe you. But Thursday night, crazy stuff happens, and it always makes me think twice when I write down a score.
So yours is 31-20, mine's 23-20. Either way, we like the Eagles. I like Washington to cover. Okay, Sunday.
Yeah.
Packers.
Yeah.
Taking on the Bears. Packers had the bye week. Bears said goodbye. See what I did there? To Shane Waldron this week. Packers are favored by 5.5. 92% of the spread money is on Green Bay. Are you on Green Bay?
Of course.
To beat
I mean,
the Bears,
if you want,
who have lost 3 in a row.
Right. If you want green and want to bet money, then bet on Green Bay. I mean, you can't bet on the Bears. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, the Bears right now, it's a dumpster fire. What's there to talk about? Firing the OC. The offense looks like crap. The rookie quarterback who looked really damn good right before the bye week has all of a sudden lost his way. The defense, the things that are said in the locker room, all that, it's all concerning. And then it's the Green Bay Packers, where we know the team is super talented, and I feel like a team that needed the bye week, one, to get healthy and let Jordan Love get healthy so we can have a full week of practice and really be hitting on all cylinders when it comes this Sunday. The Bears defense, I got a little respect for it. They might make a few stops here and there, but I just don't trust their offense. I think the Packers are a better football team. I think the Packers are going to start to make a late season charge here and hopefully round into A-plus type of football shape here, because it's been a lot of A- and B-plus football from a talented team. 27-17 Packers, Mike.
Same score.
Bam.
I got the proof. Same score. We hadn't done it in a few weeks. Now, if and when you are back on a regular basis on PFT
3
Live,
weeks,
what happened
3
on
weeks.
Tuesday is something that we would have talked about at length
Yeah.
on Wednesday, the firing of Shane Waldron. I have a question for you. How is this going to make the Bears offense better?
Right.
Changing the tire on a moving car, throwing Waldron overboard. I think we kind of sensed something was coming. We were talking about it Monday. But how do you expect that offense to get significantly better when, with a game coming in a few days, a guy who's part of the problem, the passing game coordinator, gets bumped up to offensive coordinator? I don't know that this is going to help the Bears, especially not this week. Maybe later, but not now.
Right. No. Agreed there. Agreed. And again, what I really want to know is what happened to the offense in general. You heard me waxing poetically before the bye weeks about all the motions, the shift, the creative things they were doing. Then all of a sudden we come out in the bye week, watching the Commanders game, and it went back to like Simpleville. And like if we do motion, it's like the tight end went from here to there. Whoa, whoop-de-doo. I don't know. Did Caleb Williams say something to Shane Waldron? Did the head coach say something to Shane Waldron that he wants it more basic? I'm just shocked at the approach as of late. And yes, I'm with you. At this point of the year, this does no good. And poor Thomas Brown, for the second time in his career, he's gotten stuck in this situation to where he's attached to dysfunction and he's got to figure it out and help that out. And I feel bad for him that way.
All right, we have the exact same score, 27-17. Packers covering the 5.5-point spread. If I didn't mention it, the over-under is 40.5. Jaguars at the Lions. Biggest spread of the season so far, 13 points. Mac Jones in again for Trevor Lawrence, who's got a left shoulder injury. The over-under is 47. You have picked Detroit to win every week this season. And again, 92% of the spread money is on Detroit. So the same people who are betting Green Bay are apparently betting Detroit because it's 92% for both of them. Are you in the 92% taking the Lions and laying the points?
Yes. I mean, what? I mean, 13? It should be 15. It should be 16, the line. 13's too low. This has got an ass whooping written all over it. You know, just like in real life, a Jaguar don't want to see a lion. He's going to get up by that lion. And that's what's going to happen here. Yeah, you like that? Yeah, exactly right. It took
I'm
you to
just
the
trying
animal
to
world.
envision a Jaguar versus a lion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
I don't
what?
know.
No.
Which one? It depends on which one has been prepared for the match by eating Phil Simms' hand-grilled steak.
You're funny.
That's
funny.
really the key.
I can tell you on this one, unless it's in the water, the Lion's going to win, all right? That's all I can say. All I'll say. But the Jaguars, that defense, we talk about this from time to time, right? When you play a game like Detroit did last week where they didn't play that good, but they still won. So now Dan Campbell can put the hot poker on them a little bit and let's clean up things. But it's not like doomsday in the facility all week. I always look at that and go, that's a positive. And this team's so professional, on a mission. I don't have any faith really in Mac Jones and the Jacksonville offense. They might move it here and there, but nothing consistently. And I think the Lions offense will just absolutely kick the shit out of Jacksonville and the Jaguars there. I'm going Lions 38-16.
Yeah, you know, I rarely pick blowouts because all you need is a score that covers or doesn't cover the spread. And I know that contradicts with my position that I don't look at the spread, but I kind of get the feeling. Like if you pick someone to win by 14, you're probably picking them to cover. And if by some reason the spread is 16, then I'm not. But I rarely pick blowouts. I'm picking a blowout because I'm with you. The Lions escaped with a win from Houston when they played like shit in the first half.
Right.
And they had no business winning that game. And Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions. I think Dan Campbell will have been up their butts, Joe Boo, all week long about this. And they are going to take it out on the Jaguars. And they're going to see how the Vikings dicked around with the Jaguars on Sunday and only won by 5 when they dominated them on both sides of the ball. The Lions will dominate the Jaguars on both sides of the ball. And the Lions will win, by my prediction, 45-14. And it might be worse because I think the Lions are capable of doing it worse.
Yeah,
and the
52.
Jaguars
We've
aren't
seen
capable
that. Right.
of stopping it from happening.
Yeah, no, I agreed there. And yeah, I think, these are the type of games when you are a Jacksonville team and you know the season's over, you start to get down early, it starts to snowball out of control. You start to go, damn, we stink. Damn, our head coach is going to get fired soon or after the year. This is dysfunctional, and the Lions are riding high, of course. So I hear you there all the way.
All right, Raiders at the Dolphins. Raiders coming off of the bye week. Dolphins are 7-point favorites after beating the Rams on Monday night. Let me just say this.
Yeah.
I don't know how much the disparity in rest really matters. And I know that it's inevitable you're going to be facing a team that's coming off of a bye week. But holy shit, league office, Mike North, whoever's putting these games together, and I know it's difficult to get all the moving parts, and I better be careful they're going to make a phone call and complain about me. How do you have the Raiders on a bye week and the Dolphins playing in L.A. on Monday night and having to fly home from L.A. on Monday night to Miami with Raiders having 14 days to get ready for the game? Something seems off in that. It's one thing to say, oh, we got a team coming off a bye week, but to give the team a short week when they're going against a team that's had a bye week,
I hear you.
That's unfortunate.
It is.
That's
odd.
unfortunate.
It's odd.
With
Yeah.
all that said, the Raiders aren't very good. So, do the Dolphins overcome that inherent disadvantage courtesy of the schedule makers to get the victory as 7-point favorites with an over-under of 44?
Well, this is what I don't think they're going to win the football game. I do think we're at a point here where we're at, like, Antonio Pierce going to put his last, ditch effort here and to make one more push to make this season look respectable. And then, like you talked about, certainly crossed my mind. Bye week, team on a short week, emotional win across the country. Wow, that's a lot there. All right. The other thing, too, and I think this game will be closer than the 7 points. That's my big thing that I'll talk about here. It's just that this Raiders defense, they can play pass defense. You look at some of the top offenses they've played, they give them problems. They're good on that side of the ball. It's like we always talk about. It's a good defense with a shitty offense, and eventually that defense breaks down every now and then. But they've defended Kansas City well. They defended Baltimore well. They defended the Rams pretty well. They've done okay there. And I expect that to continue here with the Dolphins. The Dolphins, I'm still not in love with what I'm seeing on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, they're tough, and I'm giving them credit for winning last week and hanging in there. But as we see, and Mike McDaniel made a comment to it, and I still get that feeling about it when I watch Tua. Tua, they're playing the game to protect him instead of just letting it go and calling some of the plays I used to see called down there. Let alone, there is no doubt in my mind he's self-conscious of what's around him in the pocket, trying to get the ball out and all of that. So, I think the Raiders D can hang in there. Now, this Dolphins defense, I haven't given it enough respect. It's maybe better than I even gave it credit for. I want to say that. But bye week, I feel like Raiders might have a few tricks. They keep it close. I'm going to go Dolphins 20-17.
I got 24-20. I thought you were going 24-20. I felt it coming. And again, I had no idea what the spread was. And sometimes I get the sense of what a spread is, and sometimes I don't. I'm surprised it's 7. I'm surprised the Dolphins are favored by that much. And maybe the Raiders will be a best bet. I've never done that. You've done it from time to time where you pick the team to lose, but you pick them to cover and you make it a best bet. I think the Raiders will keep it close. I think the Dolphins will be a little spent. And for as much as the Dolphins are calling the games to protect Tua, this whole thing about the recklessness that he has when he gets himself into these situations, like throwing his body into the way of a Rams defender who's intercepted a pass, not getting rid of the football when he's being thrown to the ground. He treats it like it's his fate. Like, if I get another concussion, there's nothing I can do to prevent it. And that's ridiculous to me because you can control the extent to which you're hit. And it's almost like because Tua won't do it while it's happening, that they're coaching around that tendency he has to not protect himself.
Feels like
and it's
something
making the
like
offense a mess.
Right.
It's making the offense a gigantic mess. So they'll win, but I agree with you. The Raiders will keep it close, and it won't surprise me if the Raiders win the game.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll say win the game because what I just do worry about with the Raiders is can they make enough plays on offense to do something that way, right? That's the big thing. And I know the Raiders might be able to drive the field once or twice, but to win the game, at some point, somebody's going to have to make a big play for them. 60-yard touchdown, 50-yard run, whatever it might be. And I just don't know if they're capable of that. But I think we both see it same way, that the Raiders are going to put up a fight here. Last-ditch effort, long time off, all of that, be ready to go.
All right, next game up, the Rams at the Patriots, a rematch of Super Bowl 36 and 53. And the Rams teams were so dramatically different from one to the other that you don't even think that they faced each other twice in Super Bowls. Obviously, the Patriots won both. And it was a Sunday night game between the Rams and the Patriots in Foxborough in 2001 that was kind of like the turning point for New England that propelled them down the stretch. They were right around 500 then, so that was years ago. And it's been 10 years since Matthew Stafford has played at Gillette Stadium.
That's crazy.
The Rams are 2.5-point favorites over New England. Short week. Long trip. Patriots beat the Bears and looked pretty good in the process last week. 43.5 over-under. Do you like the Patriots or the Rams to win this one?
You know what? I'd like the Rams to win this one. I don't think it's going to be easy, though. I think this Patriots defense has got some stuff to it. One, they're well coached. They got a pretty talented secondary. They got some corners that can match up and play man-to-man. Jonathan Jones, Christian Gonzalez is phenomenal. Right, Marcus Jones, they did a great job on the Bears guys last week. I think they'll be able to cover these Rams guys. And the offense has certainly found a spark with Drake May. There's no denying that. And he's made them more dangerous, too. They make more big plays now. That's where so there might be more 3-and-outs with Drake May as compared to Jacoby Brissett, but there's more game-changing plays. That's the big thing. And he's throwing the ball pretty well for the most part. He's still got to work on taking the mistakes out of his football game, and he runs good. And he makes a few runs and a few passes every game that you kind of go, oh, wow, that was big time, and that changes how this game is going to go from here on out. I think that the Patriots will hang around here. I think they'll give Stafford and company some issues on the offensive side of the ball at times. But I'm going to take the Rams and win it 23-20.
I don't have the numbers in front of me. My general sense, based upon 10 prior weeks of this Picks podcast, is I keep up Rams and Patriots games, and I keep getting them wrong. So what I did for this one was I went against my first instinct. My first instinct was Rams 20-17 over the Patriots. So I said, screw it. Patriots 20-17 over the Rams. And I really have no idea which way this game's going to go. You could make the argument for either side of it. I don't know which Patriots team is going to show up, but I'm going to assume that what they did last week to the Bears is going to give them confidence.
Right.
Drake May is getting better in front of our eyes. And the Rams, I feel like that loss on Monday night just knocked them wobbly enough. And I know that it's not devastating to their playoff chances because the division is fairly wide open. But I feel like Monday night's game was a reality settling in for the Rams. They had the 3 straight wins. They couldn't score a damn touchdown. 5 field goals on Monday night. I feel like reality is settling in for this team. And they probably think they're going to go to New England and win.
I hear
and
you.
I think they're going to be in for a surprise when they get there.
I don't think
20
you're crazy.
to 17.
Yeah, go across the country. It's going to be cold here in the Northeast this weekend. So they're going to be playing in some elements that, we've seen Rams teams before. They don't look all that comfortable. It's not hot and humid and loose, and we feel fast and all that. It becomes slow, and it hurts when you hit, and it hurts when you don't catch the ball clean. Oh, I don't know. I hear you, Mike. If there was a few games that you got marked on the schedule this week where you go, I think an upset can happen, this is one of them. Good for you for having the kahunas, as they might say, to pull this one off.
Kahunas, cojones, potato. It's as simple as I think it's going to be the Rams, and because I've been so wrong about both games, I moved the checker to the other spot and said, screw it, let's see what happens. All right, Browns at the Saints. I'm surprised by this spread. The Browns are coming off the bye. They're sticking with Jameis Winston. They're 1-point favorites against the Saints, and I know the Saints had lost 7 in a row, but they looked pretty good last week, and Derek Carr's back, and you got Derek Carr dropping bombs to Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and Alvin Kamara's still on the team, and the Browns are just kind of done. And I know the Saints are done too, but this Darren Rizzi factor, I think, gives them the red-hot poker that they needed. I really am surprised. I'm going to go ahead since I started down this path. Browns favored by 1, over-under of 44.5. I just think that the Saints are going to access that well. Not that they're going to score 45 points, but I feel like last week's game gives them a lift and allows them to try to finish strong and maybe position Darren Rizzi to become the head coach next year. Who knows? Who knows what they're going to do down the stretch? So I like the Saints in this one. And hell, I picked 34-21. I guess that makes me even more surprised the Browns are favored. I just feel like the Browns are the Browns, or is the Browns, as the case may be. And they're fading and falling apart, even coming off of the bye week. I think you're going to have guys who just want to play out the string and get this season over with and figure out what the hell is going to happen next year. I feel like the Saints have more to play for, and they can follow what was a great win over the Falcons by beating the Browns. I feel like they should. I feel like they should be favored.
Well, I don't feel that way. I don't. I look at it on the field and just go, I do think the Browns are more talented. I don't think you're going to see Marquez Valdez-Scantling go off on a defense this week in Cleveland who can really cover and make offenses look silly. Also, this is not Atlanta. Cleveland's still got a top-tier pass rush. It doesn't matter that they lost Zadarius Smith. I don't think they really cared that they lost Zadarius Smith. I think they probably looked at him as the third best pass rusher on their team anyways. So it's not going to be, I think, we're a totally different team out here. But, I understand what you're saying as far as, is the season over? Do they come out with intensity, all that? And yes, momentum is definitely on New Orleans' side with the Rizzi factor and the fact that, it's crazy, and I'm sure he's added some new energy to the building that way. But I just look at Cleveland and just think they're too good. They're too talented. I don't think New Orleans does enough on offense to stress the Jim Schwartz defense out. And I think Cleveland will just have enough offense to get it done. I'm going to go 20-16 Browns.
Wow, and it is a bit of a Jameis Winston revenge game because he was the primary.
No doubt.
backup.
I'm glad you brought that up. I meant to bring that up. Yes.
Never really got a fair shot there to be the guy long term. So look. Just remember, Rizzi's got to bring extra toilet paper and he's got to choke the toilet in the coach's office on Sunday because that's superstition and that's the pattern that he's already started.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
The Colts at the Jets. The Jets have gone from 3.5-point favorites to 4-point favorites because of the switch from Joe Flacco back to Anthony Richardson. The Jets are caca this year at 3-7. They keep being favored in games, though. They were favored over the Steelers. They were favored over the Texans. They were favored over the Cardinals. They're favored over the Colts by 4 at home. This is the last game for the Jets before the bye week. They get a little break on the backside. They can get to 4-7. Do they get to 4-7?
This is an interesting game. I really do think it's interesting. Now, first off, let's hit the Joe Flacco, Anthony Richardson thing there. I understand them going back to Anthony Richardson. They wanted to go with Joe Flacco. They were in the playoff hunt. Yes, Anthony Richardson not only wasn't playing great on the field as far as decision-making throwing, but the tap out, taking himself out of the field. And as I said to you Monday, this is part of a broader problem. They wanted Anthony Richardson to buckle down and be a little bit more professional in his week-to-week, day-to-day attack on being the starting quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts. But I think in the fact that they've lost the last 2 games, they sat there and went, wait, okay. All right, wait, we still know the big picture, the future is Anthony Richardson. He needs to play. Let's calm down here. We're 4-6. It's different now than it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. Let's not cut off our nose to spite our face just to prove a point to Anthony Richardson and all that. We trust in him that he'll get better and do the things that we want him to do. And I understand them going back to Anthony Richardson. I do. He's the future, so they got to make this work and get him those reps. I think they match up well with the Jets. I do. I look at it and go, well, the Jets' offense, as we know, is average and boring, and I know this isn't a great Colts defense, but they're going to know how to defend this basic crap the Jets do. And then the Jets' defense, Shane Steichen, this running game, Anthony Richardson off of that, I think they're going to give the Jets problem. I'm picking the upset. This is one game that I looked at to say upset could happen. I'm going Colts 24-21.
Wow, and you've been riding the Jets through the highs and lows, and more lows than highs, although you did pick the Cardinals.
Yeah, last week I changed. I'm off of it. Right.
And as much as I love this narrative of the Jets imploding and Aaron Rodgers saying things that contradict what he said before, and then he contradicts himself the next day, and it's entertaining and it's good for business if the Jets lose. I think the Jets are going to win this one going into the bye week. I think that they are at a point where they can muster it every other week. They can't sustain it, but they can muster it every other week. And this is a game going into the week off that I think they can get it together. I think they can score enough points, 24-17. No rhyme or reason to it. And I don't think that Anthony Richardson is fixed because he sat for 2 weeks. I just think they recognize, what? If we're not going to be in the playoff chase with Joe Flacco, let's put the kid out there and give him a chance to learn. I don't know that he's learned all of his lessons, but what the hell? He needs reps. Let's give him to him.
That's the point. They need to get him out there. And then listen, I'm not so sure they're not more dangerous with him at quarterback. I'm not. After watching Joe Flacco and doing that, the element of Anthony Richardson being able to run and then his ability to hit 3 or 4 wow throws a game, right? I know it might not be as consistent, but it might be more dangerous, and they might be better on that side of the ball. I'm going to say he's ready to go and tries to prove some people wrong here.
Ravens at Steelers.
Woo!
Ravens are favored by 3 in Pittsburgh. First meeting of the year between these two teams. First divisional game for the Steelers all year long. They have 6 over the final 8 weeks of the season. Over under of 48, which seems a little high for a Ravens-Steelers game, but the Ravens offense has been high-flying this year. Who do you like in round 1 of Ravens-Steelers?
Ravens offense is high-flying. Steelers offense is not high-flying, but the Ravens defense sucks. So I understand the over and under. It is rare to see that kind of number, right? My big thing, Mike, and I think my big question of this football game is, can the Steelers throw the ball consistently on Baltimore? I just don't know. I mean, I know they're going to make a few plays and do that. I understand that. But they're going to have to do more than what we've seen that last week or some of these other games that they've won recently, where it's just like 2 or 3 throws of the day where we go, oh, wow, that was big right there. Way to go. Oh, yeah. We know they want to run the ball, do that. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball all that easily on this Baltimore defense. And so I do think it's going to have to be the pass game. And I just question whether the pass game has enough to keep pace with Baltimore and their offense and what they do. I know the Steelers, their history, they know how to defend Lamar. They know how to play the Ravens. But this is a different Ravens offense. This is the best Ravens offense ever under Lamar. I know his first year when he won the first MVP was really good, but that was more like a scheme and a system that was catching the league by surprise. This is like whatever they want to do, they can do on that side of the ball. I just don't know if I trust Pittsburgh's offense to continually make plays, and I feel like I know the Ravens will. I'm going to go Ravens, 28-24, winning this one.
Wow. That's a high-scoring game.
Yeah.
That's the over. I had not thought of this until just now.
Right.
But Derrick Henry versus Pittsburgh. He has never gone off against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad, because it fits with the pick that I'm going to make. Because, oh, mama, I'm in fear for my life. This is Pittsburgh. This is afternoon game. Miles Simmons and I think, were talking about this earlier. I think it was Miles. I think it was. It was.
You're such a these days. You don't know who you're sleeping with anymore.
Oh, don't start, Sasquatch. It's your fault that I have to jump into bed with a different host every day. It's your fault. You left me. You made me this way.
You had me at hello.
So, anyway, Derrick Henry has 32 yards, 75 yards, and 75 yards against the Steelers. I think that the Steelers will find a way. And here's the key. If this was a night game, I'd feel better about the Ravens because there's something different about Lamar Jackson at night. It's just the way it is. You take him into Pittsburgh at 1 o'clock Eastern in the afternoon, and it just has a different vibe to it. And he said himself, he doesn't know why he struggled against Pittsburgh. He's 1-3. It's amazing he's only faced the Steelers 4 times. There's been injuries that have kept that from happening. I like the Steelers. And I was on radio yesterday with 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh. I do a thing with them every Wednesday afternoon at 3:35 or thereabouts. And I said it feels like a Pittsburgh 16-13 game. But, the offenses are a little more goose than they've been in recent years. I'll go 22-19. 22-19 Steelers. Ravens favored by 3. 22-19 Steelers victory over the Baltimore Ravens. I took the Steelers as 3-point underdogs last week straight up, and I got lucky. I think I'll get lucky again with the Steelers
that'd be big news. 22-19. Big news. I mean, like I've talked about, everybody's putting the Ravens in the Super Bowl. I mean, it's like if the Chiefs don't go, and I feel like even most people think the Ravens are better than the Chiefs too, even though the Chiefs are undefeated. They go to 7-4. Is that going to change people's minds and finally open up the eyes that there's issues with that Ravens team? I'll be interested. That'd be really something if that happens on Sunday.
Well, when they lost their most recent game, I feel like, they had the blowout win over the Broncos, which gives us an idea of what they can do when they're at maximum capacity. They just have too many lapses. They're capable of playing at a very high level, but there are too many days where it's like something's off. And it's happened 3 times this year for the Ravens. All right. Oh, wow. The Vikings at the Titans. From my second favorite team to my favorite team, as some would say.
I think. Or your first favorite team to your second favorite team. I'm not sure. I get confused sometimes listening to you.
It depends on who's 8-2 coming out of this weekend. The Vikings are 6-point favorites at Tennessee with an over-under of 39.5. It's the lowest over-under of the week. Tennessee is an NFL worst 1-8 against the spread this season. Now, Sam Darnold banged up his hand against the Jaguars on Sunday. I think it was making a tackle after one of his 17 interceptions that day. And we saw him on the sideline doing my hand doesn't feel right. He was doing it with his right hand, not his left hand. Right. He was limited in practice on Wednesday, so it's something to keep an eye on. Look, I'm tempted to pick the upset here.
Well, pick it there.
Because what I saw from the Vikings on Sunday against the Jaguars was just flat. It was depressing. The defense, well done against Mac Jones. The offense is, they're not inconsistent. They're consistently bad. They can't get anything going. And as I've told you, and I think you agree with me, the more time Sam Darnold has to set up and throw, the less accurate he is. It's amazing how many times balls sailing over Jordan Addison's head.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson's open in the end zone, and he just flat out misses him. So I still think the Vikings pull it off. I don't like them to cover. I don't like them to cover against anyone until the offense wakes up. 17-13, Vikings win. I'm assuming Sam Darnold's going to play, but even if he doesn't, 17-13, Vikings win.
I see the game very similar to you. I do. I don't trust either quarterback, right? There's no way you can make this a best bet. The Titans defense is really, really damn good. I mean, it's the number 1 defense in football for a reason. And the big thing is just, yes, how many times will Levis up? How many times will Sam Darnold up? I think they're both good for 1 or 2, right? At the very least. But yeah, I kind of look at this and go, I think the Titans, the way they play a little bit, that system, they do throw the ball quick with an occasional shot down the field. Callahan usually has a few little creative wrinkles in the run game. So I look at that and go, hey, I think they could be a pain in the butt for the Minnesota defense to a degree. But ultimately, yeah, just not enough. Not enough there. And I don't trust Will Levis. I'm going to take the Titans 20-13. I'm not the Titans, excuse me, the Vikings 20-13. I'm giving them an extra field goal there. But yeah, I do think this Titans defense will give Sam Darnold and that Vikings offense some issues, no question.
Well, so you have the Vikings covering, and I have
do.
the Titans covering, but we otherwise think the Vikings win and get to 8-2 somehow. Let's take a break. Sunday's late games, including one of the biggest games of the year so far, Chiefs and the Bills, plus a couple of other games that we really don't care about, but we have to pick all.
We care.
More PFTPM and Chris Simms Unbuttoned right after this. DraftKings Sportsbook is the number one place to bet touchdowns, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the app and use the promo code PFTLive when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours, and always please bet responsibly, only with money that you're prepared to lose, because chances are you will, especially if you listen to Chris against the spread. Not me, though, because I'm kicking ass this year. I think that's actually part of the read. That's now officially part of the read. Okay. It's the PFTPM, Chris Simms Unbuttoned, Week 11 Picks Podcast, delivered by Little Caesars, the official pizza sponsor of the National Football League.
Pizza.
Okay, Sunday late games, Falcons and Broncos. Both teams lost last weekend. Broncos have lost 2 in a row. They were 5-3. They're now 5-5. They had the heartbreaking blocked field goal that snatched defeat from the jaws of victory in Kansas City. Can they recover from that? They're favored by 2.5. against the Falcons. Kirk Cousins popped up on the injury report yesterday. He's got a right shoulder and a right elbow problem after the loss to New Orleans. Can the Broncos get things back on the winning track? They've now fallen into that cluster of teams competing for the 7th seed in the AFC. They need a win. Can they get to the right side of 500?
I'm gonna say yes. I am gonna lean on I'm gonna take the Broncos here. One, I don't think Atlanta's defense is all that good, as we've talked about before. I think that Sean Payton and company will be able to run the ball and move the ball on them enough. I'm not expecting high scoring, but enough here, and Bo Nix continues to go in the right direction, where I think this is a defense, of course, that matches up with Atlanta on that side of the ball and what they do. Both teams have a little bit of like, we beat the teams we were supposed to beat, but we don't beat the team that's really better than us. That's a little bit what I think of both of them when I look at them. And I think I just trust Denver to be a little bit more tough in these situations. At home, I do look at Atlanta and go, even though they're really good on offense, it's not like a lot of big plays. As I've kind of said, it's always 10 and 12 and 15 and 10 and 8 and 6 and that way. I don't think you can drive the ball on Denver like that all day. I don't. I'm going to go Broncos winning this one in a tough one, 20-17 at home.
I got 24-20. We both have the Broncos winning and covering. And one of the factors for me that I think will get them over what happened in Kansas City, there has been a natural and organic groundswell of support for Alex Forsythe, the guy who got blown up on the field goal block, and there's a clip floating around where he gets blown up all the time.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes, I saw that yesterday.
Knocked off his ass.
Right.
Onto his ass. Knocked off his feet onto his ass. And Bo Nix had a great defense of Alex Forsythe. I just think it's going to bring the team together, and they're going to come out of it stronger, and they're going to get the win. They're going to get the 6-5, 24-20. You've got 20-17. Let's move on to the Seahawks and the 49ers, rematch of a game that was played on a Thursday night. The 49ers won that one. The 49ers have won 2 in a row. Seahawks coming off of their bye. 49ers favored by 6.5 with an over-under of 48. Who do you like?
Well, I'm a little surprised to see this spread where it is at 6.5, honestly. I mean, I thought it might be even a little higher. I think the 49ers offense is about to explode here with Christian McCaffrey and what they're doing. And again, I just don't think it's a very good Seahawks defense. Anytime we've talked about this, anytime they've really played a high-flying offense that's healthy and ready to go, they kind of get torched. And I just go, man, there's nobody with a bigger flame right now than the 49ers. Brock Purdy's hot. The run game with Christian McCaffrey's only going to get better and more dangerous. That was the first game back. And, yeah, it was more the pass game than the run game, but you see the influence. The field opens up. There was more big plays from the 49ers than almost any game we saw this year. I think that continues. And I think the 49ers defense better last week. I know that the Seahawks offense is dangerous and explosive in the pass game, but that's to me what they are. They're not as capable of being surgical. They're a little bit of a big play football team. I don't think the 49ers let that happen too much. I'm going to go 49ers 34-21 at home.
I have the San Francisco 49ers winning 30-23. So we both like the cover. We both like the Niners to win. I agree with you. Having Christian McCaffrey back changes things. Week number 2, a little deeper into the process. the Seahawks have been all over the place this year, and they started 3-0. They're 1-5, 1-6 since then. How many games have they played? That's 9. They're 1-5 since then because they had their bye week, week 10. So I just feel like the 49ers are ready to start making their move. And they know they need to make their move.
Yes, they do.
They dug a hole for themselves.
Right.
And they're fortunate there's no one else taking charge of that division right now. They can catch the Cardinals. They have to keep winning. Beating the Seahawks and completing the sweep is a big part of it. All right,
49ers have that disease.
of the day.
49ers have that disease of dumb shit right now. It's missed field goals. It's letting a kick return up in a big moment, a punt return in a big moment, a big fumble as we're going in to tie a game or put up a score. And I'm hoping my buddy Shanahan can clean those things up here.
Choking the long snapper.
Yeah,
right. Who hasn't put his hands on the throat of the long snapper, though?
Right.
That's no big deal. That's all overblown by the media, Chris. That's all a media creation. The media put Deebo Samuel's hand on the throat of the long snapper. Okay, Chiefs at the Bills. For only the 5th time since the merger, 2 teams with 8 or more wins meeting week 11 or earlier. The Chiefs are 9-0, and they find a way every week to win. The Bills have pushed their record to 8-2. They're favored by 2 points, but here's the caveat.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is 11-3 straight up in his career as an underdog, including when they were road dogs against the 49ers week 7, 1.5 points. They won that game. Do the Chiefs, Christopher David Simms, son of a steak feeding to the Fox group of parents, do the Chiefs get to 10-0?
I'm going to say yes, they do. That's what I'm going to go, and here's my reasons a little bit. One, I think the Chiefs, even though they don't run the ball great, and we know they're better with Isaiah Pacheco at running back, I think they're going to be able to run it enough. And it's as I always talk about in Buffalo, a defensive front that's not always the biggest and stoutest against the bigger, better offensive lines in football. I think that's where they've come into problems against the top tier of teams in the league. I think that they'll be concerned enough with that's going to force their defense into some issues. Plus, with that, they're not a very good man-to-man team. They're a zone football team. And when you play zone, it's just too hard to stop the Kansas City Chiefs, kind of like what we saw in the divisional game last year in the playoffs where the Chiefs were underdogs in Buffalo. There's just holes everywhere. And when you play that much zone all the time and do that, Andy Reid and Nagy, they know how to stress or separate certain parts of that zone and get somebody to sit in there to where Travis Kelce's in the end zone by himself, giving Taylor Smith and his brother heart emojis as he's scoring touchdowns wide open. That's what I worry about. And then the other side of the ball, here is what I worry about too. Buffalo is definitely more formidable on the offense side this year. Running, pass protect better. They got a few more weapons. But I don't. As I sit here on a Thursday morning, Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper are kind of iffy as far as their status for the football game. Let alone, I think that the Chiefs got guys that can cover them man-to-man and do stuff like that and then stop Josh Allen from running and scrambling and doing that. I'm going to take the Chiefs on the road. I'm not sure they're a better team than the Bills, but I think they match up better in this moment right here. 24-20, Kansas City.
I think you got the name of one of the most famous people in the world, whatever, they know who we mean, wrong. You said Taylor Smith.
I might have. I was going fast. I was flying there. But yeah, Taylor Swift, heart emoji, and maybe my favorite part of last season when Jason Kelce had his shirt off in Buffalo and was yelling out the press box and like just screaming, and some girl next to him was banging the glass going, yeah! That was my favorite part of the year.
Kristen is going to have to work overtime.
Lots of work for Kristen to do.
All the F-bombs from this one. I got a couple of factors, real-world factors. I think will come into this. Like things unrelated to the X's and O's. You're good with the X's and O's, and I'd like to think I'm good with understanding how momentum works, and psychology, and this and that. Exactly.
Yes, right.
And it's all hewn by 50 years of watching these things happen because the patterns repeat themselves. Just like they do in the stock market and in business, the patterns repeat themselves. So, number one, the Bills don't need this game. The Bills do not need this game. The Chiefs need this game to further the 3 things they're trying to do, whether they'll admit it to anyone or not. Number one, 21 straight wins, the all-time record. set by the 2003-2004 Patriots. Number 2, 17-0 on way to 20-0, which has never been done. And number 3, 3 straight Super Bowl wins, which has never been done. The Bills don't need this. The Chiefs do. And the Chiefs are inevitable. Until someone beats the Chiefs each week, the fact that the Chiefs keep pulling a rabbit out of their ass makes them feel confident that they're going to find a rabbit in there when they need to. And the other team is going to start thinking at the end of the game, here it fucking comes.
What color is that rabbit up their ass? Here it comes.
We don't, probably brown. We don't know how. We don't know when. We don't know where. But those bastards are going to beat us. So 24-23, Chiefs over the Bills. Let's take a break. Primetime games for Week 11. Next on PFTPM and Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
DraftKings Sportsbook is the #1 place to bet touchdowns, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the app and use promo code UNBUTTON when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
This is the PFTPM Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast delivered by Little Caesars, the official pizza sponsor of the NFL.
Pizza.
I got to tell you something real quick, because I thought of one of my all-time favorite jokes, and I haven't thought of this joke in years when we're talking about rabbits in butts, okay? Yeah. And when I first heard it, it was told by Gilbert Gottfried, so it's a very different delivery than what you're about to get. And it's got to be a quick one, according to Pete, who's slowing me down even more by telling me it's got to be a quick one. A bear and a rabbit are shitting in the woods, and the bear says to the rabbit, "Hey, rabbit, do you have a problem with the shit sticking to your fur?" And the rabbit says, "You know what? Now that you mention it, I do." So the bear wiped his ass with the rabbit. Boom! All right.
That's pretty good. But you're hanging out with Rizzy too much down in New Orleans. You got some problems, you two.
Okay. Or we just have that similar sense of humor that has been suspended at 8 years old.
Right.
Okay, Sunday Night Football. Flexed. Colts, Jets out. Bengals, Chargers in. Chargers favored by 1.5. 88% of the spread money is on Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. Are you on the Bengals or the Chargers?
I am back and forth on this one. I mean, I've written text to myself as far as reminding myself what I want to do and that I'm on the fence with this one. Okay? I think there's a little disrespect for the Chargers that's out there right now because they go, well, they haven't played that many good football teams. And I'm just here to tell you they're good. They're real, right? There's a reason they're on a stat line right now of the 1990 Giants of not letting anybody score over 20 points in the first 10 games of the year. I don't give a shit who your schedule was. That's still impressive, right? Here's where I go into. I know the Bengals defense is not good. We know that. And the Chargers offense isn't super explosive. I get that. But they're going to be able to move the ball on the Bengals defense. And as long as I always talk about Ladd McConkey, Palmer, and Quentin Johnson are out there, there's plenty of firepower with the way they run the ball and that guy, Justin Herbert, playing quarterback. So I think they will move the ball in the Bengals defense. The other side of it is this, though. The Chargers defense is really damn good. But they play a ton of zone, Mike. And you know what I say about Joe Burrow. He is the best zone quarterback in football. He's the best zone quarterback I've seen in quite some time. When you play zone, just like you saw last Thursday night, it is dice them up all game long. So that's what I worry about. I do. I'm going to take the Chargers to win this 28-23. But I did think about going the other way, and I could see it being 30-28 Bengals, but I'm going to take the Chargers and ride with it.
I was leaning Chargers, and then Miles and I talked about the game for a little bit earlier today on PFT Live, and it dawned on me.
Right.
This is playoff Joe Burrow.
This is desperate.
This is when the superhero becomes super-duper hero. They need this game. The Chargers don't.
Yeah, they don't.
Chargers don't. They can lose and fall to 6-4, and they're still going to be the 6th seed or, worst case, the 7th seed. They don't need it, and they haven't faced an offense like Cincinnati, especially if T. Higgins is back. He was limited in practice on Wednesday with a quad injury, but look at what Jamar Chase did last year. Those extra days, they're ready. They need it. They're desperate. They win 23-17 Chargers. Okay, Monday Night Football. The Texans at the Cowboys.
Wait, you're 23-17 Chargers, you're saying, or Bengals?
No, Bengals.
Okay,
Bengals.
okay. Sorry, you confused me there. I was like, wait, he just defended the Bengals, but then picked the Chargers? What?
I'm Bengals. Okay, Bengals 23-17.
Gotcha.
Texans at the Cowboys. Moonlight coming through the the west end of the stadium. Will that keep CeeDee Lamb from catching the ball? Look, the Cowboys stink right now.
Right.
They stink. They stink. And the Texans lost a game last week that they should have won. I don't know. Maybe the Texans really are fraudulent and they're going to go 0 for 3 in prime time, but I can't imagine them winning this game. 34-13 Texans.
Yeah, the Texans are, they're not real good, but they're good enough, and they're better than the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, listen, what do we got to talk about? Dallas, everything we talk about has nothing to do with them on the football field right now, too. They're a total disaster. It's Micah talking about the coach. It's CD talking about curtains. It's the owner talking about who knows what. It's all of it. It's a crap show. Totally. The Texans still have issues on offense, as you saw. It was the Lions' mistakes last week early in the first half that made the Texans' offense score a few points, but I still don't trust them. But I definitely don't trust the Cowboys' offense. I'm going 24-13 Texans.
All right, that's it for the games. When we return, best bets and the Folsom Prison Blues picks of the week. PFTPM, Chris Simms Unbuttoned, back right after this. PFTPM, Chris Simms Unbuttoned, delivered by Little Caesars, the official pizza sponsor of the National Football League.
Pizza.
All right, the Joint Picks podcast, it's already week 11, best bets time. I've got my formula in mind to try to reverse my shitty trend. You're up.
I did think about the Eagles. I just want to tell the listeners that. I just get scared on Thursday night, so I'm not going to do it. But I have them winning by 11, and I expect them to win by that. And if I do, if they do that, I will be cursing you out on text tonight going, I should have picked them, all right? First one is the Packers. I'm taking the Packers. I know they're on the road in Chicago, but there's just too much going on there in Chicago. I think Green Bay, week off, healthy Jordan Love, all that. They'll be on their screws and ready to go. I'm taking them to cover that 5.5-point spread. I got them winning by 10.
My theme this week is favorites who aren't favored by enough. Packers, 5.5. Not enough against the Bears, who are currently in disarray.
Okay, that's your theme. I like that. All right, so my next one is the Lions over the Jaguars, because as I said, 13, I mean, it should have been 18. It could have been 19, whatever. I don't know. I got them winning by 22. That's what I know, and I know it could be worse than that. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Lions as my second best bet.
How am I going to catch you if we don't have different best bets?
I don't know. You better come up with something, dude.
You pull the one-armed bandit, and they're lining up. First one, second one, third one. Let me just see. I'm taking the 49ers. Same idea. Not favored by enough. 6.5. Are you with me?
I am with you. I am taking the 49ers.
Shit!
I am. Yeah, that's my third. I thought about the Chiefs. That is definitely one of the teams I wrote down as well. But I'm going to ride with the 49ers here. I just don't trust Seattle, that defense. I think the 49ers, just like I kind of said with Green Bay, I think they're going to round into shape here to start playing, January-type football. They realize they got to clean some things up.
All right, for the Folsom Prison Blues,
Fulton County
as
Blues,
Chris likes
Folsom
to say,
County.
even though he thinks it's Fulton County Stadium becomes Fulton County. I don't know how.
Right.
We can waste the time talking about it, even though we're running out of time, because there's no way either of us is taking anyone but the Lions this week.
100%. I mean, the Lions, yes. The Jaguars' offense stinks. They're dysfunction, and the Lions are hot as hell. I'm going Lions too.
I think the Lions could start their backups and still win that game. I think they could.
It'd be close.
Which means the
I will
Jaguars
say that.
will probably win.
I hear you.
That's it.
All right. See you, dude.
See you next time.
Sasquatch out. Peace. Yo, homies. Thanks for watching. Yeah, it's time. The NFL season is here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
You can hit subscribe to get all the weekly picks, plus our Sunday recaps as the games are happening.
Oh, you know it. Nobody does that better than us. Thanks again for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out. We'll see you next time on Unbuttoned.